Welcome to the Project Endure podcast, the place where we talk about life, endurance, persistence, perspective, and so much more. I'm Joe Rinaldi, and I'll be your host. Let's jump in. Before we get started, let me share a quote with you. The great Les Brown once said, "You can't see the picture when you're in the frame." If you've felt stuck in your fitness, mindset, or life as a whole, head down to the link in the show notes and reach out to learn more about Project Endure coaching so that we can help you step outside of the frame and bridge the gap between who you are now and who you want to be. We can't wait to hear from you. Now, let's get to the episode. Welcome back to a bonus episode of the Project Endure podcast. It is me, Joe Rinaldi, and in this episode, I will be recapping the 2025 Project Endure event. This was our fourth annual event. I'm recording this the morning after, and I am surprised that I still have my voice. So you're in luck. Now, before I dive in, I have no idea how long this episode will be. I am processing all of this in real time and wanted to share that with you. And so what I'll start with is a quick recap of the speech that I gave to kick off the event. And from there, I'll talk about some of the things that really stand out to me and have been most impactful in the short time of reflection that I've had so far. Without further ado, I'll jump into a recap of the speech where I started by saying that it felt like it was just the other day that I was standing in front of that group of people looking at all of their beautiful faces. After last year's event, I felt like you feel after a marathon. Your legs are hurting, you feel depleted, and you find yourself questioning, why would I ever choose to go through that pain again? I asked the audience to raise hands for anyone who could relate, and got quite a few hands up in the air. And where I was going with this is that when you get done with something hard, there's a part of you that feels relieved that you don't have to experience the pain and discomfort of the pursuit that just ended. And that's where I am in this moment. I'm relieved that I don't have to experience the pain and discomfort of all the build up to the event. And I'll dive more into that here in a bit. However, there's another part, maybe even a bigger part, that just can't wait to do it again, because the challenge was meaningful and the fun was in chasing the finish line, not crossing it. And again, that's where I am right now. So for the last year, I'd been looking forward to that moment, and my hope for everyone was that we could all be extra present and appreciate that the magic of the gathering was the people in the room. It was everyone in attendance. That was the magic. It was the people. So for the people that had been to the event in the past, they understood what we're all about. For the people that had never been there before, I wanted to be clear about Project Endure's singular mission, and that is to help others find strength in struggle. Our motto is do hard things because growth is uncomfortable and what we want is on the other side of hard. It's that simple, and it's not. That's because doing hard things isn't only about what we get on the other side, but it's especially about who we become in the pursuit. And that's what this talk was going to be about. To be more specific, I wanted to talk about one of the hardest parts of pursuing the person that we want to become: navigating what we think that other people think about us. And the message is simple. If you want to grow, you need to be willing to be misunderstood. If you're chasing your dreams, you should seem crazy to the people who don't understand. Don't be crazy alone. Go find the others. To give some context and be a bit vulnerable, I want to share a story that some people know in part, but very few people know in full. And while I share this story, I hope that as you listen, you can see parts of yourself in this because underneath the surface, we're all more similar than we are different. Since 10 years old, I've been navigating a genetic eye condition that causes progressive loss of sight. That was a tough pill to swallow as a kid. I felt so different on the inside, but just wanted to fit in with everyone else. Through some ups and downs, I ended up finding my stride through sport and in high school through drinking as well. I gave a, I apologize to my parents who were in attendance. Uh, Obviously, you know, that's a time in life where I'm sure as a parent, it's hard to watch your child go out and do things that maybe aren't the smartest or the safest. But nonetheless, I think I turned out okay. I went off to college and I embraced both sport and drinking, especially the drinking. And that first semester of college was a wake up call. I realized that I couldn't trust the extremist in me around alcohol. And so, as an 18-year-old freshman who'd never had a legal drink, I decided to give it up altogether. That left me in a place that I'd never been, without formal sport, in a brand new environment, surrounded with people that I didn't know who all wanted to do the thing that I just committed to stop. That marked the beginning of a very lonely chapter of life. I did the best that I could to make friends, but ended up choosing isolation because it was easier to be different and alone than to try and find the others. To make a long story short, I ended up developing disordered eating and severe body dysmorphia, which I denied for years, even though it was obvious. I transferred schools, not only because I wanted to pursue a degree in exercise science, like I've told people for years, and which is true, but especially because I wanted to be home and I was so tired of feeling alone. Even while at home, I chose isolation and sulked in the fact that I felt so different. In hindsight, I chose to be a victim in a world that didn't seem to understand me. I ended up pulling it together and going to graduate school here in Philadelphia. And that first year here was hands down the hardest, darkest season of my life. I woke up every morning with every intention of feeling better, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't. I didn't know what I needed, but in time, what I needed became clear. I needed a person who I felt compelled to do hard things for. I needed a person who loved and supported the person who I was, no matter how different I felt from everyone else. I needed a person to point me back toward the faith that I had been drifting from. I didn't know it until I met her, but I needed my wife. And she still thinks I'm crazy, by the way, but I take that as a compliment. So here's what I've learned through it all. In the end, what other people might think about us and our decisions is all about their perspective, and it's none of our business. Like Friedrich Nietzsche once said, those who dance are considered insane by those who can't hear the music. While people at the event might not find their spouse at the event, and who knows, they were surrounded with a few hundred people who have a desire to be different from the world around them and are dancing to music similar to theirs. That room was full of humans who were swimming upstream against the current of what's popular, convenient, and comfortable in order to become the best that they can be. I shared that despite the desire to be better, we've all experienced the fear that comes along with embracing our differences and pursuing our potential. Like it's been said, so many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare ask the universe for it. This, for you listening and for everyone yesterday, is a call to see fear as what it is, a signal that there's something to be explored, and a possible invitation to pursue the pain that stands between us and our potential. Like Nietzsche also said, The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. This is a call to fly, to soar high, and to be willing to be misunderstood by the masses, with the understanding that in time, being vulnerable and courageous will allow you to find the few who get it. The extra mile isn't crowded, but it doesn't have to be lonely. So, why did we gather at the event? Earlier, I said that it's important to embrace our crazy and to go find the others. I told them, you're in luck because I've made it a mission to bring all the crazies together, and now we're here. There were some laughs, but deep down, there was a lot of truth there. We are all crazy in our own way, and that's not a bad thing. So, this event is about celebrating our people and dancing to our music. It's about celebrating those who see value in doing hard things, those who strive to stand tall when life attempts to knock them down, those who make an effort to lift others up, those who refuse to let fear force them into playing small, those who want to do these things together. This day was about growing, connecting, creating memories, and walking away even just a little bit better than we came, with a group of people who, in one way or another, all want the same. So it's in that spirit, just like last year, that I challenged everyone to be open to what's possible. You are always one person, one conversation, and one experience away from a completely different life. I asked everyone to be open to the idea that this might be that day. The hard part was done. They were there. They'd all found parking. Only one person got towed last year. And as I record this, the day after this event, only one person got towed this year. So I encouraged everyone to go start that conversation, make that new friend, share that thing that they've been holding inside, and step outside of what's comfortable at every twist and every turn. Don't forget that hard things can be fun things, and it feels good to pursue growth. I left out one thank you earlier in this talk, and it was an obvious one. From the bottom of my heart, I expressed appreciation and gratitude for every single person who traveled from near and far to be with us at the event. One of the biggest blessings and most important pieces of Project Endure is the people, and we wouldn't exist without you. I can't even begin to tell you how much you mean to me. If you were there at the event, if you're listening to this podcast, if you support us in any way. I could talk on and on and on, but I'll stop here after the same quote from Alexis Carroll that I've ended this talk with each year. He said, "Man cannot remake himself without suffering, for he is both the marble and the sculptor." At that point, it was almost time to do hard things. And from there, the event just blew up in the best way possible, right? That part of the day is the hardest for me because until I get every word out of my mouth for that talk, it is all in my head jumbled up with all of the logistics, everything that still has to happen, all of the little fires that have been put out and still need to be put out. And it's feels relieving to get that speech out into the world so that the audience can receive it and I can embrace the rest of the day, which was smooth, amazing, incredible, unforgettable. There were some learning lessons throughout the day for me as a business owner, as an operator, as someone who hopes to continue putting on events like this. So took some notes on those things, put out some fires. It all worked out. But it goes by so quick. It's a blur. And at the same time, it feels like when I look back on that day, I could live in the memories forever. The weather was perfect. It was dry and overcast, not too hot, not too cold the entire day. And I'll walk you through the logistics of the day here in a minute, but we decided to do a yoga group outside, in the afternoon for the workout portion of the day, just like last year. And We had a walking group this year for those that just wanted to walk. So keep in mind, dry, perfect weather the entire day. Those two groups go outside in the afternoon. I kid you not, minutes later, it is pouring rain. It is raining hard. And it was just perfect. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. And to have a group of people who could take that in stride, who could laugh it off, who didn't mind being wet, who didn't mind pivoting, that was such a testament to the type of people that are part of this tribe, right? Part of the Project Endure family. With that being said, after I was done speaking, we had another speaker, and then we jumped right into some team building activities. That's the rock, paper, scissors, shoot tournament. It's the push up challenge. It's the plank challenge. It's a dance, icebreaker with your team. It's so much, right? And I won't go into the nitty gritty details. If you were there, you know what happened. Uh, one of my favorite and more awkward slash hard parts for everyone is the uninterrupted eye contact exercise. And that was a special part of the day. It's always a special part of the day because I get to step back and I get to watch these people who don't know each other yet just make this deep, meaningful connection with their eyes and nothing else. After the team building phase, we had two more speakers, and then we moved into the journaling and group discussion. Everybody got journals at the event, journals, pens, journal prompts, and a few other things, along with the shirts that they received when they arrived. And so, everybody's broken up into groups of 6 or 8 or 10, spread out through the entire gym, talking about these deep, meaningful questions with people who they are sometimes meeting for the first time on that day. And it's so cool to hear the low level of conversation just spread throughout the gym. And you can see how focused everyone is on each other, on their stories, on their vulnerabilities. And I'm so proud that we can create a safe space for that to happen on such a large scale. And so once that part of the day was done, we had our two final speakers for 6 in total. And then we moved into the workout portion of the day. For the workouts, again, I mentioned the yoga group, I mentioned the walking group, and they dealt with the rain like champions. And then we had our high intensity circuit, and we had a CrossFit style partner workout. And it's just that's my favorite part of the day because I can step back. I am not leading any of those. I have people who I trust and who are incredible at what they do, leading people through those workouts. And I get to step back. I get to hear the music blasting, watch people sweat, give high fives, fist bumps. This year, I ordered Krispy Kreme donuts I was trying to hand out during the workout. Only had a few takers. Everyone ate them afterward, of course. And it's just so fun. The energy is so high. It's electric. And that electric energy was present throughout the day. There were no dull moments. There were no silent moments. There were no awkward moments that I didn't manufacture. It was just perfect. And after the workouts, we moved into the cold plunge, which is kind of the final part of the day and the wrap up. We had 3 cold plunges this year instead of 2. I ordered less ice because last year a ton, so 2,000 pounds of ice was a lot extra. And, we just had fun. It was raining to start the cold plunge. People are stepping outside of their comfort zones and stepping into something that is very hard and challenging, and doing it together and doing it with a smile on their faces. And I love that part of the day. I ended the cold plunge, was one of the last ones to go in. And it's just such a cool moment to be in that water, to surrender, to be still, to see the Ben Franklin Bridge in the background, and to see all these people who showed up to support the mission of what we do. And I just, I'm just so grateful. So we wrapped up and cleaned up and went home. And I I'm almost still in this state of just, it feels surreal. It's very hard to describe. It's just my adrenaline had been going all week. I don't know if my heart rate was under 100 beats per minute for the entire week. And so you're exhausted and you're wired all at the same time. And I'm coming down off of that. However, before I keep going and talk about some of the big insights and takeaways and all these positive things, I want to first address some of the realities of building something like this. And the truth is, building something opens the door for disappointments, doubt, and discouragement. When you put yourself out there, when you create something, it invites the possibilities that are not so good. Um, there are forces that can act against what you're trying to create. You are pushing into resistance. And there are all these things behind the scenes that you guys don't see. It's dealing with vendors. It's making sure shipments are on time. It's storing all the boxes in our house. It's renting a U-Haul and trying to parallel park it here in Philadelphia. It's dealing with emails and text messages last minute with questions and concerns. It's the PA system not working properly during the event and having to troubleshoot that while the event continues to run without a hitch. And it's all these things. But what I want to hone in on is something that I felt every single year and something that seemingly continues to be just as hard every single year. And that is learning to not take things personally. Unless you've built something like this and done something like this, you might not understand. But when you pour your heart and soul into something that you are excited about, that you just love and can't wait for people to experience, when people buy tickets, sign up, and then brush it off last minute and send you a message, week of, night before, morning of, hey, I'm busy, won't be able to make it. Hey, something popped up, won't be able to make it. Hey, I signed up, but I'm not coming. Whatever it might be. And this goes for people who I've never met before who bought a ticket, all the way to people who I work with and am close with and and would call friends, right? I have to step back in those moments because it feels like a gut punch, right? It feels like a personal attack. It feels like my worth is in question when I get those messages, when those things happen, because people are not honoring the commitments that they made to the event, to the brand, to me. This is never going to be as important to someone else as it is to me. And I have to remind myself that it's not personal. Even though it feels personal, it is not personal. And so, through journaling, through reflection, through exercise, I've processed over the past week leading up to the event these mini disappointments that have popped up. And I've shifted with a lot of effort and a lot of intention to not focus on those people who won't make it, but instead to focus on the people who will make it and who are there and who have showed up and followed through on their commitments and supported what I am building, what we are building. And so that was one of the biggest struggles and challenges leading up to this year's event, just like all the others before it. So, with that being said, I am so grateful for so many people. If you were there, you're on that list. I am immensely, immensely appreciative of you for giving your time to be with us the other day. That is just so special to me. And I can't even put into words how special that is. If I could give you another hug every day for the next year until next year's event, I would. With that being said, there are people who go above and beyond. There are clients and friends and family. My parents, my grandma came. She surprised me, which was so cool. Who came early and said, "What do you need? I'll do it." Hanging the flags, setting up the tables, putting things in the journals, cleaning up, organizing, doing whatever needed to be done. There's so many selfless people that I can't rattle off the entire list here on this podcast because you would probably go listen to a different podcast if I started just naming names for the next 10 minutes. However, there's one person that I want to highlight, and it's an obvious one. It's my wife, Michaela. She is so selfless. She is so supportive, so encouraging, so loving. I I said this at the beginning of my talk, and I meant it. I do not know what I would do without her. This would not exist without her. She likes to exist behind the scenes, but she deserves all the recognition in the world. And so at the event, I had two friends shoot confetti cannons over top of her, which scared and shocked her because the previous year I shot the confetti cannon and I showed her in front of everyone that I did not have one on me. But of course, we had confetti. So I just want to highlight her. And she knows, Michaela, how much I love you, but she really deserves a lot of credit, a lot more than people realize. And so thank you. And that also goes for driving the U-Haul through the city, parallel parking the U-Haul, helping me move boxes, picking me up when I'm down. It's just so much she deserves credit for. So thank you. Uh, there are two people that I also want to highlight who traveled from Canada. One of them is a client and a friend, the other just a friend. Um, but these people made trips, right, from a different country to be here. And I saw the experience that both of them had, and I got a chance to connect with both of them in meaningful ways, albeit only a few minutes at a time, but in meaningful ways. And it's so cool to see the impact that this has had for people who don't even live in the Philadelphia region or the United States. I had a conversation with Ariane, who, if you're listening, Ariane, I appreciate you so much. She's a client and she's incredible. And I saw how emotional she got at the end of the event. And it felt like she was just mirroring what I felt on the inside because I was also emotional. I get so sad near the end of the event. I'm happy and sad at the same time. I have so much joy and also this sorrow that it's coming to a close. And I could see that. And I could just see how much it meant for her to be here this weekend. And that makes me emotional because it just goes to show how impactful this has all been on someone like her. So Ariane, thank you for making the trip and for being such a great representative of what Project Endure is all about. The second Canadian is Dalton. Dalton is one of the first friends I ever made through social media. And we first connected when I think my handle on Instagram was Joe Flow Fit. And not many people know those days, but it was an awkward stage for me on social media. And Project Endure didn't exist. It wasn't even an idea in my mind. And over the years, Dalton and I have both built businesses and we've stayed in touch and, we've grown together. We've gone through hard times together. And he's one of those people that I might not talk to for 6 months at a time, but when we reconnect, it feels like we just talked the other day. And I'm so, so grateful for him. And, he pulled me aside near the end of the event and just said, "This is so cool. It's crazy to think that you've built something like this that's impacted so many people." And he reminded me of a couple years back when Project Endure was in its infancy, when I had a job offer from Nick Bear at BPN to go work there, to go move to Texas, to go be part of a team full of people who I admired. Uh, and I forget about things like that. I forget that I've had other opportunities to ditch this and go be part of something else that someone else is building. And I am just so grateful that I didn't. I'm so grateful that I bet on me and I bet on this and I stayed here, right? Like I am just so grateful for that. And I don't know what it was at the beginning that drew me more to this than an incredible opportunity somewhere else because I've had doubts creep in, right? I've had hard seasons. Entrepreneurship feels like this intense roller coaster that you have to choose to stay on every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year. Right. And sometimes when the ride is at its low, it's hard not to think about what would it be like to go do something else with other people where the pressure isn't all on me. But for whatever reason, I've stayed and I will continue to stay the course. This season is all about building Project Endure. And I am so grateful for people like Dalton to remind me of that. And so I just want to give a quick shout out for all of the other people who traveled from outside of Philadelphia, plane rides, train rides, bus rides, car rides. Um, it just means so much. So thank you for being there. I also want to take this moment to just recognize the growth, right? This is the fourth annual Project Endure event. And when I look back at the first annual Project Endure event, it was 40 people in a park, very little organization, had no idea what I was doing. It was very clunky. Still had a great time. And I am so glad that I started with imperfect action. But to fast forward from that, 40 people to 200 plus people who purchased tickets to spend the day with us in a gym, in a beautiful gym, nonetheless, with a lot of structure and a lot of electric energy. Um, it's cool. And to be honest, I don't know where it goes another 4 years from now. I don't know what that looks like. All I can hope is that the energy in that room is amplified both at future events and also outside of this one. My hope is that people can leave feeling inspired and encouraged and just excited, and that they can carry that to their other relationships, their other pursuits, their own life far beyond this one event. And so, with that being said, there's just a lot of pain and pressure that comes along with building and creating something like this, and it's all a privilege, and it's not a privilege that I take lightly. So I am very thankful that I have that pressure and that challenge. Couple other things, after recording this episode on Sunday morning, I'm going to unload the U-Haul with Michaela, and we're going to go return that. And then I'll organize all the boxes in our house, clean up. I have hundreds of messages to respond to, which I am very grateful for, although it feels a bit overwhelming at this moment, but I will chip away. And then we jump right into next week and we keep moving forward. Before I start to wrap this episode up, I want to share a quote from Steve Jobs that I didn't share at the event, but I think fits very nicely into the message that I shared. And Steve Jobs once said, "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." With that being said, I hope that you feel inspired to embrace your crazy, to chase your dreams, no matter what other people might or may not think of you. With that being said, if you are listening and want to get involved and want to be around people who will embrace your crazy with you, support you on the path to pursuing your dreams, and be in your corner, here are a few ways to get involved. I want you to go to our Instagram. In the link in the bio, you can find a bunch of different ways to get connected. For one, you could just follow us on Instagram, and we are going to continue to pump out encouraging and inspiring content that I hope challenges you in a positive way to grow. You can join our Strava club. And if you want to get involved beyond just Strava, you could message me, Joe, directly. We have a run streak club going in a private message group. So if you want to start a run streak or you have a run streak currently, feel free to let me know and I can get you connected. You can find our online store in that link in our bio and grab some gear that we hope inspires you to choose endurance and keep going through the hard things. You can continue to listen to other episodes of this podcast. And last, you could inquire about coaching. We offer fitness coaching and mindset coaching, and this is our core business. This is what allows us to put on events like that. And the event is a sample of the energy that we pour into our clients. And if it feels like you could use some extra support, guidance, accountability, and or encouragement to get to where you're going, just let us know. I would love to talk with you. With that being said, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Stay tuned for all that's yet to come. And until next time, keep doing hard things. I'll talk to you soon.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Project Indoor podcast, go ahead and subscribe, leave a review on your platform of choice, and share this episode with a friend. It helps us get more conversations like this out to more people like you. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next time. And one more thing. If you're looking for a community of people all striving to be better together, check out the Project Indoor Hard Things Club. The link is in the description below. We'd love to have you.